So one good way to change the nature of your ego is, actually there is no good way, all are painful ways. But when we serve, when we do anything in our life in the spirit of service, whether you're a doctor, you are an engineer, you are unemployed, whatever you are, anything that we do in life, if I do it in the spirit of service, I would feel, I would always get more out of my actions. If I do it with the feeling that I am superior, then it's unlikely that I would actually feel content. I may feel satisfied for a short while, but I won't feel content. And the bigger your heart, the easier it is to contain these emotions. The smaller your heart, the harder it is. Somebody told me the other day, he quoted this thing. He said, he read this thing, शेर और बकरी जंगल में तो इकट्ठे रह सकते हैं, पिंजरे में नहीं. Lion and goat, they can stay together in the jungle, in the woods, but not in a cage. If the area is huge, if your heart is big, all emotions can roam freely without really affecting you. Because who are you? I don't mean to say it in a challenging way. Simply, who are you? Are you the body? Are you what your ego says who you are? Are you the soul? Are you a human being? What are you? Who are you? And I think there is great merit in that simple teaching of Ramana Maharishi. He said, put everything aside. Don't think about anything. Don't worry about anything. Don't get into all these scriptures and I just want you to reflect on, who am I? And it takes practice to not lose that memory. Because when we are in the middle of a conflict, we forget all that very quickly. I will tell him who I am. Right? Then we forget all that who I'm supposed to be. But I still remember, and I've shared this with you earlier as well, when I was in the woods and I used to feel pain, I used to ask myself this question: who in me is feeling this pain? Is it my body? But if my body is feeling pain, if this body is feeling that pain that I'm experiencing right now, what if I was unconscious here? The pain exists, but the body is not feeling that pain anymore. So it's not about the absolute nature of the pain itself. It is about what aspect of me is identifying with that pain. And often it helped me with that pain. And sometimes I would visualize that I've gone in and I've calmed all my cells down and I've spoken to them, look, hey, nobody's hurting you, harming you, take it easy and retreat. And that visualization helped me. These things together, 95% of the time, it helped me. 5% of the time, nothing worked. When I said, Who's feeling this pain? You are feeling this pain. What do you mean, who's feeling this pain? Sometimes that's the answer I would get. So maybe it was the ego talking at that time. So the idea is you need to master the art of having a self dialogue without speaking it out loud. Okay? Having a self dialogue, speaking to yourself and gradually mellowing down your ego. Because when you are operating at a higher consciousness, you will repeatedly get in conflict with your ego. Because now your ego knows there's another boss. I read this thing somewhere that confidence is a feeling you have before you understand the problem. Once you know it, what you're dealing with, all confidence goes away. So ego is similarly, ego is the feeling you have when ego is reigning supreme. But the moment you rise above it, you become aware of your feelings, your thoughts, your actions, your words. You become aware of your ego, and ego doesn't like it. Because now suddenly it's reporting to another boss. So you find yourself more in conflict with your ego if you display higher consciousness. If you connect with your higher state of being. This man had been married for quite a while, and so he had a love marriage, and his friend asked him, so he was thinking of getting married. He said, so how's your experience been? What do you recommend? Should I not? I'm confused. My girlfriend says we should get married, but I'm not so sure at this point in time. So what do you recommend? He said, listen, I can tell you from the nature of our conversations, nature of my conversation with my wife. That should tell you everything about marriage, he said. Before I got married, he said, when she was my girlfriend, I used to talk and she used to listen. I felt I was talking to a human being. She would listen to what I had to say. But the moment I slipped that ring on her finger, it somehow reversed. I don't know what happened. What was it? The ring was jinxed or what happened? Now, she was the one talking and I was the one listening. I don't know how it flipped. The role playing changed. She was no longer listening to me. She was only talking and I was listening. And then I put that, then we got married and I put the Varmala around her neck. I don't know what happened. After that, no one is listening. Both of us are talking. So there are 3 stages of conversations, he said. First, I was talking and she was listening. And then she was talking and I was listening. Now, neither of us are actually listening. We both are talking. This is also the stage of friction with your ego. You will go through a stage like this when you work on self-transformation. It is a crazy path and it is absolutely riddled with hurdles like these because you were so used to doing things a certain way. Now somebody within your consciousness is challenging that. It doesn't matter how wrong a person is, nobody likes to hear they are wrong. You tell anybody they are wrong, they don't want to hear it, even if they know they are wrong. They say, I will tell myself I'm wrong. You can't tell me I'm wrong. I can say to myself I'm a nobody. You can't say to me you are a nobody. I can say I'm a servant of God. You can't say, oh, you're just a servant. Those exclusive titles, that humility is self-reserved. Ego is something like that. So the message I'm trying to give is you cannot feel bad for feeling bad. You cannot feel guilty for feeling any of the 10 emotions. Laja Gaja, and so on. You cannot feel feel that you are not evolving just because your ego is hurt at times. Ego only knows two states. Ego is a switch on and off. And it only has two states, on or off. Ego either understands self boosting or hurting. Ego is either hurt or is boosted. There is not an in between state for ego. Ego is never neutral. It's like when you sit down to meditate, you say, oh, I'm going to not think of anything. And with practice, you attain that thoughtlessness. Let's say for 7 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, you're sitting and there's no thought. Oh my God, I sat thoughtless, and there's the thought right there. You feel happy. Oh, really, there is no thought. And that's the thought. So the very awareness of ego is the presence of ego itself. And the antidote to ego, remember that it will take time. Unfortunately, it doesn't go away with age. So we can't say somebody's grown up, their ego will diminish. Actually, the reverse happens. They think, बाल धूप में सफेद नहीं किए, right? That I really know what I'm talking about. You listen to me. The reverse happens. When we grow older, we become even more egoistic. Usually, you know why? Because there is no aspiration left in life. There is nothing we are trying to do, nothing creative, nothing productive. We're not trying to achieve anything, do anything. We have resigned to the ways of life and we say, screw everybody. I couldn't care less. And when you're in that state, you will be a trouble for everybody. Because you're not happy within. Wherever you will go, you'll have a problem with everything there. So, in all honesty, the greatest antidote to ego is not meditation. That brings about the awareness of ego itself. The true opposite of ego, the true remedy for ego, I feel, I could be wrong because I want to talk out of my ego, is happiness. If you're happy, if you're content, you really are in a positive state of indifference, that things don't bother you as much. Fine, big deal, no problem. It's if I'm not content with myself, if not, I'm not happy where I am, my ego will be hurt at the drop of a hat. My ego will be hurt at every little thing people will say to me, people will not say to me. Somebody who's deeply insecure is more hurt by what people didn't say to him or her than they are by what people said to them. मुझे पूछा नहीं, मुझे खिलाया नहीं, मुझे बिठाया नहीं, इत्यादि इत्यादि. Right? अगर पूछो मुझे ऐसे नहीं पूछा. I like tindas and they made Loki. Things like that. So ego is always hurt when I'm a burden on this planet.